I'm live on Instagram. All right. All right. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Phil from PDQ Merchant Enterprises and the ATM Mastermind group page where we go live every other Monday night, 6 at 6:30 or at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Um, my name is Phil from I've been in the ATM business for over 24 years. We sell ATMs, we process transactions, we sell parts, we repair ATMs, dispensers. Um, we also, I'm going to put it in the chat. We also have a ATM mastermind course that allows you to learn from A to Z how to get into the ATM business. I'm going to put that in the chat in case anybody would like to get into our course. The course is $495. So if you're interested, we'll teach you from A to Z how to get in ATM business along with our ATM community. And if you need to run anything by me, I'm here to help. All right. So tonight we are talking about practicing negotiating with business owners that you want to place your ATM, understanding contracts to make good deals for your ATM locations, and getting out the word about your ATM business. All right. So practice negotiating with the business owner. All right. So one of the things that what I do is I take it from a standpoint of trying to, I guess, put strength in negotiating from a position of strength. So what I do is I'll go into the location. What I'm doing is first when I'm canvassing locations, I'm more of a face-to-face person. I don't usually cold call on people. I'll look from a standpoint of the phone. What I'll do is I will go into business owners or I'll get a lead from somebody who's already in there. Hey, Phil, I was over at XYZ location. They don't have an ATM. I talked to the business owner. They're interested in an ATM. Okay, fine. So then I get my, so to speak, cold lead. Then what I'll do is I'll go into the location and I will check it out. Do they have an ATM? Is the lead a viable lead? So now I walk into the business owner. It depends what the business is. But for this instance, let's use it as a convenience store. So I walk into a convenience store. I usually look for something to drink in that convenience store. Usually the clerk or the manager, or maybe sometimes it's the owner. They'll see me fumbling around looking for something. Then they ask for assistance. Hey, how you doing? Are you looking for something? Yes, I'm looking for this. Usually what I do is I usually look for either I drink purple Gatorade, that's what I drink. So but not everybody carries purple Gatorade. I also look for a Frappuccino. Not every store carries Frappuccino. So those are the two things that I drink, and I will ask, do they have that? Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. Okay, if they say yes, and I say, okay, well, I looked, I can't find it. Could you help me? Oh yeah, no problem. Then they come over and they look and say, oh, it's over here. Okay, great. Sometimes they look for also a Coke, usually a Coke in a can. Sometimes most people carry Pepsi products. If they carry Coke, it's in a bottle. They don't carry canned Coke, but they'll carry canned Pepsi. So they'll say yes or no. They have it, and if they do, now it becomes a conversation. Oh, hey, I didn't see it. Thank you very much. Now I take my can or whatever I'm drinking, I take it up to the counter. Are you the owner? Yes or no? They'll tell me yes, they are, or no, they're not. If they say no, they're not, then I say, oh, well, when's the owner in? And then they usually tell me, because now I'm a customer. I'm not somebody selling something. So it works. The system works out really good, because now what I'm doing is getting information. Who are they? Yes, they're the owner. No, they're not. They're the manager. Yes, they are. When is the owner here? Well, the owner comes in from, I'm not a salesperson. The owner is in on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 in the morning to 10 o'clock, or Mondays and Wednesdays, or they're here only on Saturdays, they're here on Fridays, whatever those are, I'm getting that information. Now I can get that information and I say, hey, I noticed that you guys don't have an ATM in here. Is that something that you think the store owner would be interested in, or the manager? And then the employee would say, if it's an employee, I say, we get a lot of people asking about an ATM. I don't understand why there's not one in here. I know the owner was trying to find out where to get one or how to figure out to get there. Or sometimes it's the other way. Maybe it's negative. Yeah, the owner has 2 or 3 stores. They get their ATMs from XYZ. We're just waiting for that to happen. We've been here for 4 months and it hasn't happened. Or you get all these stories, but you get all this information, and it all starts with, what am I doing? I'm stopping in. I got a lead from somebody else. I stop in, and now what I do is I'm buying something. So I'm not on the offense. I'm getting information. So this technique has worked for me for years and years and years, but it always is because I'm buying something. Once you buy something, you're in a different category. You're just not somebody stopping in to sell somebody something. Okay. Now, what's the next step? All right. Now let's say if it isn't the owner, then they usually give me information. Hey, the owner is at this time, they're here from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. On Mondays or on Tuesdays and Wednesdays or whatever those dates are. Now I said, well, okay, fine. Is the owner going to be here? Let's say it was Monday. Or is the owner going to be here Wednesday? You said they're here Mondays and Wednesdays. Yep. The owner's always here. Is the owner in the back room making deliveries, or are they working the counter? No, they work the counter. Okay, great. What's their name? Then they give me their name. All right. So now I get all that information. Now I stop in on Wednesday. And what I do is I do the same process. I look for something, even though I know where it's at. I look for something. I usually buy it, and I stop and say, hey, I was in here last week, Tuesday. I always get the employee's name. I was in, talked to Marissa. Marissa said, you're the owner. Yeah, that's right. Okay. We place ATMs in convenience stores such as yourself. We got one down the street. Now, if I'm new to the game, I might not say I got one down the street. I just might say, hey, we're looking at placing ATMs in your neighborhood or in this area. And I use that. It's like, we're a local business. I go with my strengths. What's my strength? Local business. I'm the owner. I want to deal with, I'm here to deal with other owners. I'm a small business. I go with those strengths. And then I give my pitch. What's my pitch? My pitch is easy. Hey, my name is Phil from PDQ Merchant Enterprises. We place ATMs in convenience stores such as yourself. There's no cost to you. We place the ATM here. We pay you a commission. We pay you a monthly commission, somewhere between the 4th and 8th of the month. You'll receive an ACH. We'll mail you out a statement on the 1st of the month. So you get your statement on 1st. You'll get your deposit between the 4th and the 8th. And that is how it works. Your store manager, your store employee said you get a lot of calls for an ATM. Again, it's going to be free of charge. And we in fact pay you a commission. So with that, they're either going to make a decision as, hey, I don't have time to talk. That sounds good. Can we set up an appointment? Or I ask them, is that something that you think your customers would be interested in? And then they would say yes or no. And then from there, then we'll make a decision. Now, sometimes, the store owner don't have time to talk. So if I see that they're busy, then I might come back and say, well, is there a time when you're here that, you're not so busy? Because sometimes the store is going crazy. And there is a lot of people. So if the store owner is there and it's 6 to 10, I'm not going to be there between 6 and 9 because most of the people, that's when they're really busy. I'll try to get there after 9 because that's when it slows down. In the morning, a lot of guys, they come in, they're grabbing coffee, they're grabbing donuts, they're grabbing Snapple, they're grabbing something, and the store owner is super busy. Then it calms down, maybe after 9. Or usually there's a lull between 10, between 9:30 and 11. There's a lull. Then at lunch, it gets busy again in a convenience store. So I try to get there early, but not too early because too early is not good. If it's a liquor store, I'm there real early because liquor people aren't usually buying alcohol too early. They open up at 9. Most of the time, they're, it's closer to a lunch. They might be coming in, grabbing cigarettes or something, but for the lottery tickets. But most of the time, early in a liquor store is a good time to get the owners there doing paperwork, and they're not busy. Late in the evening, not a good time for liquor store. Usually after 12 is not a good time because they are busy and they're selling their stuff. You want to get them where there's a lull, but not so. But you also want to give them a chance to have a conversation with you and get to know you. So sometimes sometimes you'll have to go back and back. It might take 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Sometimes it's easy. Sometimes it's on the first time. So it just depends what they're going to say and how the conversation goes. I approach it from I buy something in their store. That always seemed to work. Number 2, the other thing that I do is it's a no service product. It doesn't cost them anything to try this out. It's very easy. And I tell them, hey, we're gonna pay you commission. And then it depends on which way they want to go. Is that something that they're interested in, or is there not? I never talk about a location agreement at that time. I will say we do have some paperwork to sign because we are putting money in your account. Says, what do you need from me? I said, look, it's really easy. I need an email, a bank account, and a tax ID. So that's the things I need. Oh, okay, no problem. When can we do this? Yeah, we'll come back next Tuesday. We'll sign the paperwork. And when can you have the ATM in here? As soon as the paperwork gets signed, we can have it in here somewhere between, inside of 2 weeks. I always put the 2-week margin on it. Most of the time I got the ATM, we can get it in within the next day or two, but I don't want to back myself in the corner. Things happen. Maybe my team we got other installs. We might have vacations. We might have something. I tell them 2 weeks, and then I go back. I facilitate what we can do. How we're gonna do. We have the ATM in stock? Yes, no. Do we have 2 or 3 installs in the next week or 2? Yes, no. And if everything's clear, then we'll program the ATM. I got all the paperwork. Program the ATM. Then I call the store owner, say, hey, I was thinking maybe today's Monday. I was thinking, how about next week, Tuesday? Does that work for you? I just would like you to be there. No, I'm not there on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm there on Monday, Wednesday. Okay, fine. Wednesday's the day. Is that going to work for you? Yeah, I'm there between 10 and 11. Okay, great. We want to install. How long is it going to take? It's going to take us about 20 minutes to install. Always let the store owner know, hey, we got to drill it to the floor. Now, sometimes that's a deal breaker. The owner says, well, I don't know. I got to check with the landlord. I don't own the building. I tell them it's not big holes, but sometimes they have to check with the landlord. Most landlords say, no, I don't want you drilling into my floor. So that might be a deal breaker. If the guy who's leasing the store says, hey, no problem, bring it in, and they don't check with the landlord, then it's okay. Now, I have had to negotiate with the landlord. I tell the landlord, look, I'm going to drill to the floor. And then I tell them how big the holes are. Most of the landlords say yes, but sometimes they say, no, I don't want you drilling on my floor. So that would be a negotiation for between, I'll have a conversation with the landlord. And sometimes the landlord says, no, I don't want you drilling my floor. And then it's a deal breaker and we're out of the deal. Sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. I try not to have a discussion with the landlord. That's usually a conversation for the tenant, which has more leverage than me, because the tenant is renting from the landlord. They're paying rent. This will help their business. It'll help them keep them in business. I remind the landlord, hey, this is an added value to bring more traffic to the business and to your leasee. This is a good thing for them. Sometimes they like it, sometimes they don't. So, but I always try to have the conversation with the tenant to talk to the landlord. I don't want to have that direct conversation because they don't know me, and there's no reason for them to do this unless it makes sense for their leasee. So if they do push it off on me, and I have had conversation with the landlord, like, look, this is going to bring extra traffic to the location and to your tenant to keep them here longer. And those are the things a landlord likes to hear couple things, that their tenant is making money and they can pay their rent. That's the number one thing the landlords care about. And I try to encourage that. All right. So what's understanding what makes a good understanding contracts that make a good deal for your ATM locations. All right. So what you want to do is you want to have in your location agreements is you want to make sure that you have these clauses. A clause that you can terminate the location agreement for any time or any reason, or a performance clause. Look, if the location doesn't do X amount of transactions, then we have the right to pull the location agreement, the ATM. Sometimes guys will read the contract and say the location, say, well, I want that same similar thing. It's like, look, here's the deal. I always tell them this. Look, we don't pull, very rarely do we place an ATM in a location that we pull. We give it an ample amount of time, 6 months, usually 6 months. We'll give 6 months to the location and see if it performs. On a rare occasion, you know what? It might not perform. And if that's the case, then we're not making any money. We're not going to keep the ATM in the location. So I usually try to avoid that conversation. And the way I do it is, look, you got a dynamite location. You're obviously killing it here. I'm sure this is going to be a good situation for you and me both. But in the case that, that it doesn't, we're going to take the ATM out. And then they ask, well, how many ATMs you take out? I said, very rarely do we ever take an ATM out, but it has happened once in a while. So that's the conversation I try to let them know, because they always look at, I don't want to go into business and then you're going to put this ATM and you're going to pull it out. Look, if it's making money, I don't want to pull it out. I want to stay in the location. So that's the conversation I try to have with the location, but make sure you put it in your location agreement. I've talked to so many people who they put the ATM in, it's doing 10 transactions a month, and they're like, well, but I'm under contract with the location. I'm like, well, didn't you put a performance clause in there? No, I didn't. Okay, that was your fault. You should have made sure you had a performance clause in there. You also need to have breakup rules in there. What's a breakup rule? A breakup rule is this. Hey, you decide that you're going to go with somebody else. You're kicking me out. Okay, great. You owe me for my revenue that I would have made if I stayed. So that's what a breakup rule. Make sure you have that in there, and because that'll protect you in case they do decide to break up with you, and then they have to prove that, why'd you kick us out? Well, we're going to kick, and you bolt, one of the reasons you bolt the ATM down, so they can't kick you out, because now they have to cut the bolts off and get you out of there. All right. Well, there's no way there's no way to do that unless they do that. And then you got it in your location agreement. If they do that, then you could sue the store owner and the person who's going in. Now, some people in the ATM business will say, well, I don't want to do that, Phil. I don't want to sue anybody. I don't want to go through a legal expense. I don't want to. Okay, but you have that opportunity. You make the decision. You put in your location agreement, and if they decide that you decide you don't want to do that, then it's your option. You can walk away and you don't have to, but make sure it's in there so you have that option. I'm just giving you options. And the other thing you want to do is you want to make sure that you have an ability to put advertising, and you keep 100%. So that way, if you decide I know there's a few people out there, they put screens on top of their ATMs, they advertise, they get some money. So if you do that, you go through all that work, then you keep 100% of that. And if you want to share with the location, then that's up to you. But at least you have it in there and say, hey, our agreement says I keep 100% of the ad revenue. We went out, we got the advertisers, we're paying for this, we're paying for that, we pay for the wireless. So now the guy said, well, I want ad revenue. No problem. You can help me pay for the wireless. It's X. Or you can help me pay for this, or I'll share Y with you. Or that's a negotiation to extend the location agreement, or whatever. You have the ability because you put that in an agreement. I'm not a big proponent of advertising. I haven't seen it work successfully, but I always put it in our agreements just in case it's there, so you can advertise and you can reap the rewards for doing it. All right, we're going to pause right now. I just want to see if there's any questions. Anybody have any questions tonight so far? If this has been helpful so far, I'd like to see a couple fire emojis, or some thumbs up. That would be always good. It always gets, it's always nice to see a couple of fire emojis or thumbs up. All right. And then the last thing that I want to talk about tonight is getting the word out about your ATM business. A lot of times you're just starting out. You don't have, we've been in the business for over 24 years. So we have people always calling our office. Hey, we're looking for an ATM. I heard about you through X and Y. But when you're just starting out, you don't have those opportunities that we've had because we've been in the game for a long time. So what do you do? So one of the things you do is you find a local chamber of commerce and you go to you join the local chamber of commerce. You talk to them. You go to some events about you let people know, hey, I'm in the ATM business. You usually there is in most states they have a liquor control commission, or they have a tavern league. You go to the local tavern league meeting. You say, hey, I'm in the ATM business. You let them know, because maybe there's an opportunity there. You also can join. There's usually a laundromat association, and there's also a hotel association. So those are good places to network, to get the word out that, hey, you're in the ATM business. You can go to local chamber of commerce. They usually have a lunch or a dinner or an after 5, things like that. You can be a guest. You don't necessarily have to join the chamber of commerce, but you can be a guest, usually 2 to 4 times a year, just to go and check that out, and then network with people. Those are all good places to network, because you're in the ATM business. Also, there's liquor stores also have liquor salesmen. You want to network with liquor salesmen. So these are all areas that you want to start to get your word out that you're in the ATM business. Also, if you go on Facebook, there is, especially right now, again, we started what I call mobile season. Usually starts May 1st, goes to Halloween. On Facebook, there is, they'll usually have events. So there are all the fairs and festivals that'll start now. Again, in the northern area, every little town and city and county, they'll have their festival of, I don't know, the month, or and you can register. Hey, let me know about this festival or that festival, and then when you do that, now you can go to the fair. Maybe you're not ready to do mobiles, but you can go to the fair and festival and say, who's in charge for next year? I'd like a chance to talk to you about an ATM. Maybe there's ATMs there, maybe there's not. If there's not, then you can always talk to the local festival about it. And if there is, then you ask them, hey, I didn't know if you're happy with this person, but we also do it if you are looking to make a change next year. So those are ways to get the word out, especially during the fairs and festival season or mobile ATM season. There's also, and you can check that out. Also, for mobiles, Chamber of Commerce, Rotary clubs, and the cities and the counties. Those are the 4 people that throw on a fair and festival. So just to let you know, in a mobile, how a mobile works is most of the time, now I see it makes me laugh about, they're going to put battery. Most of the time when they do a fair and festival, they do it in the field, but they have generators that you can use their power from these events, or in every event. But and there's usually security. So you want to figure out, when you do a fair or festival, where am I going to put the ATM? Make sure they have electricity, and make sure there's some kind of police or security features before you place your ATM. All right. So I hope that was helpful tonight. If you guys got any questions, please feel, let's see, thanks, bro. Thanks for the info. I'm new and learning. Thanks. No problem. If you guys got any other questions, I'm going to put my email in the chat, so you guys can email me. Here's my email. Here's that. I'm going to also post the masterclass if you guys are interested in the masterclass. So again, we have been in the ATM business. So like with us, when you deal with us, we're 100% turnkey. You don't have to buy the ATM from somebody else and process through somebody else or preferred vendor. We do it all. We sell you the ATM, we process the transaction, we repair the ATMs, we provide any kind of repairs or service if you need. We sell parts, one-stop shop to the ATM. It's not somebody else. We're not refer you to anybody. It's always going to be us. We're going to handle everything from A to Z. Hence, we wrote a book on the ATM business, how to succeed from A to Z. And we have a masterclass that'll teach you from A to Z how to be successful in the ATM business. So with that being said, I'll see you guys in 2 weeks, same time, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Been in the ATM business for 24 years and very excited about it. So I just want to say thank you guys for coming on tonight. Hope I provided some value. You have any questions, I put my email. And if you're looking at the course, it's in there also. So thank you guys very much. I will see you guys in 2 weeks and have a great week. Bye-bye. Okay. Good, good, good.